Hello, dear brothers and sisters, greetings to you all. You are most welcome. We are here to share our thoughts, ideas, and sometimes providing solutions for African problems. So, let us look on the issue of adding value to African resources. Despite the truth that Africa is a continent with rich in terms of natural resources, Africa is a continent with a lot of potentials, but we, the people of Africa, we are not involved much in adding value to these resources. We are not processing our minerals, and what we are just doing, we are just making sure that we provide raise to our mines, to other investors from outside. We have become hired to our own minerals or mines. We are not involving in adding value, processing agricultural products. Why this happened to we, the people of Africa? So, my dear brothers and sisters, if we update our curriculums to produce Africans that can add value to our resources instead of producing Africans who are job seekers, Africa will solve many problems. Africa will solve the problems of hunger. Africa will solve the problem of peace. I'm saying this because, listen to my dear brothers and sisters, you heard about Africans who acquired jobs in the farms in abroad. So Africans went to work in farms in abroad. It is good, and we congratulate those who are working hard to make sure that these young Africans are getting job abroad. But in the other hand, we can ask ourselves, why don't we, the people of Africa, instead of exporting cheap labor, why don't we export food or finished products? Why we create us to be the job seekers? Why don't we take these young men and women to our own farms or create their own farms and sell the food to those who have a shortage of food, to sell food to those who want food from us instead of taking us to their farms? It's because our education systems or our curriculums are preparing us to be job seekers. The same job that we are going to work abroad, we can work also here in the continent of Africa. And if we work here in the continent of Africa and adding value here in the continent of Africa, we can create jobs. We can boost industrialization. By adding value, we must also have industries, so we can boost industrialization. You see, that is the advantages. But because we are prepared to be job seekers, that's why we are so proud to be hired. We are so proud to work to others. So Africa has many resources, and these resources are not utilized very well. And we need, with the people of Africa, to be trained very well so that we can add value to our resources. I saying this, there are some countries recently you heard about, they have conflicts. For instance, we have Sudan have conflicts. That means the people in that area are not working, are not producing food. So at the end of the day, these people will have shortage of food. Because we are not producing food here in the continent of Africa, you will hear other countries that have been taken our young men and women to their farms, they will come back to sell food to the people of Africa, those who are affected by hunger. So the food is coming out from outside, but it is produced by Africans. Why don't we produce here the food here in the continent of Africa and sell to our brothers and sisters, and sometimes helping them. It is a shame. We need to change, dear brothers and sisters. You know, this struggle is not the struggle of the fainted heart. It's the struggle of the strong men and women. We need to be strong. We need to think beyond. We need to think about business. Africans, we think about jobs. We think about salaries. Let us think about how we can create jobs, how we can add value to our resources. We need such kind of education. As I said here, this continent is going to have a lot of population, and if we are not creating good environment, this is going to be the trouble for the continent of Africa. And this can happen if we, the people of Africa, we are trained well to make sure that we can add values to our resources. Recently, you heard that many of our young men and women have been acquired job to the farms outside of this continent. Just imagine the continent of Africa with horrible land, with enough water like this, land for their good condition for producing foods, but we are going to be hired to go to the farms to work in the farms of others, while our people are remaining hunger. Why can't we produce enough food here in the continent of Africa? Instead of selling cheap labor, we can sell food, we can sell products. You see, those who want our food, instead of going to work to them, why don't we going and work to our own farms, producing foods or products? At the end of the day, we sell to them the product. But what is going to happen is that those who have been taking our young men and women to go to work to their farms are those who are going to sell food to us. I'm telling you, few years to come, you will see and you will understand what I'm just saying here. Africa will become hunger, and the food will come from outside. Africa will be fed by others, and those food will be produced by Africans who have been hired by other races. It is shameful for we, the people of Africa. Till today, we can't feed our people. Look, Africa have a lot of conflicts in some areas. For instance, in Sudan, in Sahel region there. So it means in that area the people are not producing food. At the end of the day, the people in that area will be suffered with the hunger. Who will provide food to them? It's those who are taking cheap labor from Africa to produce food will come back and sell food to those countries that are suffering with hunger. So they are going to make business with our energy, with our power. I'm saying this not in bad way, but I'm trying to awakening my fellow young people in the African people that we, the people of Africa, we have to provide solutions. For instance, many of our young men and women who are involved in conflict are those who are not working in industries, they have no jobs in general. So that's why it is very easy for them to be convinced by someone to fight against their fellow brothers. So if they are busy working in producing minerals, producing food, producing things, I'm sure these young men and women will not go to fight because they are so busy. So Africa will be at peace. And today, Africa is a continent that have the highest population of young people. Just imagine these young people without having jobs. What is the next? So we need education system that can make our young men or can produce students that can add value. By adding values to our resources, we are going to create jobs. By creating jobs, we are going to make our young men and women busy in adding value, in producing goods. We are going to industrialize this continent. We are going to improve our infrastructures, because if we are going to have many industries, automatically we are going to improve our infrastructures. Why? Because those goods are supposed to be supplied within the continent. We are talking about continental free trade area. I'm talking this every now and then, but I see that if we are not careful, this continental free trade area, we are not going to be realized in our lifetime. Maybe the next generation will implement this at this condition that we have today. Otherwise, I'm not sure. Let me not talk about that, but I'm not sure if we are going to implement continental free trade area in our lifetime, because I see conflicts among nations in Africa. I see barriers, borders still there, visas still there. So these free movement of people and goods are just in literature, are not in action. So we need to improve our curriculums. We need to improve our education systems that can produce Africans, students that can add value to African resources, that can produce engineers that can build African roads, that can produce doctors. I was visited one place where I found some young people working hard to produce these stones there for building purpose. But I asked them, why don't you use the same energy in diamonds, in gold? What they told me is that they don't know gold, they don't know diamond. And I said to them, just imagine if you are just breaking these rocks and you find diamond. Can you recognize this is a diamond or this is gold? They said no. And from there I realized that with the people of Africa, we need to change our curriculums. We need to update our curriculums. For many years, Africans, we have been trained, educated to be hired by others. That's why you see Africans, we have a lot of resources, but we are not participating in adding value, in processing. We are not producing final products from our resources. This is because we are not trained to add value. We are not trained to process our goods, to process our products. We have been trained to be hired by someone. That is the main problem that we have. So from there, all of us, the people of Africa, we need to update our curriculums. We need to teach our young men and women how we can add value, how we can process. We have engineers, but what is so paining is that even our engineers cannot add value, cannot provide solutions for African problems. For instance, in roads, one day I created one of the video concerning about infrastructures. Africa now, many of our governments are involving in improving infrastructures. But look who are building these infrastructures. It's not we, the people of Africa. But we, the people of Africa, we are working in minor issues like stones, like this you see, our young men. And those who are working in minerals, some of them are just in a small position. So we need all of us to make sure that we add values to our resources. You know, if we, the people of Africa, we have been trained to add value to our resources, I'm sure Africa will have enough industries. Africa will have enough electricity, because those engineers who have trained to become engineer in electricity will come up with the solutions. Look, today many of our solars from Africa are coming from outside, but there's some countries that have no sun like Africa, but are the one who are selling solar panel to Africa. You can wonder. This is paining, my dear brothers and sisters. We need to change. We need all of us to see how we can add something to the value of these resources. Without doing so, we continue to see that investors are coming from outside, are investing in think that if we are well trained, we can invest with even the people of Africa. What we are so proud is being hired in the companies that are not owned by Africans, the companies that are from outside. I don't mean that we don't need outside companies. No, we need investors. We need Africa needs investors, but in a win-win situation. We need also internal investors. Let me ask you, how many African companies are operating in China? Ask yourself, how many African companies are operating in China if we are doing a business in a fair way? But there are so many companies from China that are operating in Africa. I have no problem with Chinese. I have no problem with others. What I want to say, I want even the Africans to go out there to do business like the other races come to do business with Africans. That's what I'm just trying to say. How many Africans are going out to seek treatment outside of the continent? How much we lost as the people of Africa? So we need our education that can produce doctors, can produce professionals that can help this continent. By doing so, Africa will move forward. Otherwise, Africa will continue to sit in the backside of the world. And despite that, we are talking about the continent, the richest continent in terms of resources, but we will continue to be the poorest people in this continent, while other races are moving faster, are changing their lives. With the people of Africa, we are still struggling. Of course, this struggle is not the struggle of the fainted heart people. It is the struggle of the strong men and women toward economic independence. We need Africans to do business with others. We need Africans to work with others, but also in a win-win situation. My dear brothers and sisters, sometimes due to this education system that we are talking about, we have education systems that are preparing us to be hired. That's why recently you heard many of our young men and women acquired job abroad to work in the farms. Just imagine the continent of Africa with all these horrible land, with fertile land, with all condition, good condition, water there, sun there, but we are not ready to produce enough food here in the continent of Africa so that we can sell food and finished product to other people who have a shortage of food. Instead, what we are just seeking is to get job outside of the continent. So with those few words, thank you.